Hashem Ve'el Hashem Shema Hashem Bechoneni Hashem Shema Hashem Bechoneni Hashem Shema Hashem Bechoneni Shema Hashem Bechoneni Hashem Oizeli Hashem Oizeli Okay, so we were talking about the Behemoth Rabbah, the great animal, and that's referring to Yecheskel's vision, where he sees the animals in the chariot, right? And what's all that about? So the context of this is that the whole point of Sefirat Ha'omer, the counting of the Omer, and which starts with the Kohen lifting the Omer of barley, Lifnei Hashem, Lifnei Havayim. The whole point is that he's lifting the animal food up to its. Is lifting the animal, basically, is connecting us back with the animal part of our being, that although here in this world, my animal self, my nefesh abrahamit, seems to desire all kinds of things that are not godliness, but in fact, in origin, the animal also comes from a very high place, even from one of the divine. It's an emanation of the divine name that is known as Shem Ban. Is that when you spell out Yud Kei Vav Kei, you spell it out Yud Vav Dalet Hey Hey Vav Vav Hey Hey. It adds up to 52, which is the numerical value of Behemoth. And the idea of that is that even though here amongst us you would say that, oh, you know, a learned person, you know, like who's learned Chassidus, who knows this and knows a lot of Torah and so on, is more you might think is more capable of very good bonding with Hashem than an ordinary simple Yid. But that's only when you're talking about the differences between us from our perspective. But from the perspective of where we're all originating from, including the Nefesh HaBahamid, it's a Jew who's a big Talmid Chacham is no closer to Hashem than a simple Yid who hardly understands, and he's eating matzah on the night of Pesach just because he was told that Hashem says He wants you to eat this tonight and don't eat any chametz. So what that basically means is that the gap between a million and infinity is the same as the gap between one and infinity, right? The distance between finite and the infinite is always infinite. But the point is this, is that Hashem makes Himself present even in the lowest of our levels. So that an ordinary, simple act of doing a mitzvah, just because Hashem told you to do it, just because Hashem wants us to do it, creates the bond with the Infinite One, whether you know the depths of the mitzvah, whether you know all the secret meanings of the mitzvah, whether you don't, it's Hashem has made Himself present to us, even in the lowest of ways. Shalom. So what's the so the idea of lifting the Omer up to back up to the source? The idea of that is that let me put it this way. The point of it is that in this way we can achieve transformation of our midot so that they should reflect Hashem's light in this world. Okay? So I can maybe just put your bag on the floor underneath something, okay? The idea is that I can train myself to adopt good characteristics. I can train myself to 1 hour, 2 hours a week. I'm going to go and volunteer at a soup kitchen, or go do Bikur Cholim, or learn a little bit more Torah and so on. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I've transformed my midot. Okay, transformed midot is a whole other. I've learned to control my midot. I've learned to control myself to spend in a better way. I've learned to control myself to be a little bit less selfish, but it hasn't eradicated my being selfish. It hasn't eradicated because I'm concerned about myself. I'm concerned about that I want to be known as a good person. I want to be, I want to get into Olam Haba, whatever it is. It's basically still, I've been convinced, or I've come to the conclusion that it's a good idea to do good things and not to do bad things. So I'm doing it, but I haven't transformed. And you see the difference when you feel yourself being attacked by another person. So we can be having an argument about, like yesterday in Pirkei Avot and Perikei, not yesterday's chapter for the Shabbos before the second Shabbos before Yom Shavuot. So it speaks about machloket shehi l'shem shamayim, an argument that's for the sake of heaven, versus machloket that's not l'shem shamayim. The example that's given of machloket l'shem shamayim is the machloket of Shammai and Hillel. So both were interested in knowing the truth. Neither of them was interested in coming out of the argument as like, I was right, or this wasn't about I got it right and you got it wrong. I want to know the truth. I think it's like this. You want to know the truth. You think it's like that. So let's argue it out. Let's argue it out so that we can both know. We can both come to an agreement. What's the truth? That's the Shem Shemayim, right? Shalom L'Shem Shemayim, the example is given is Korach and his gang, right? All that Korach was interested in was supposed to prove Moshe Rabbeinu wrong, right? And it wasn't a matter of discovering the truth. So that's why when Rabbeinu wants to talk to him, he refuses. I mean, the Tana Naviram refuses. They refuse Rabbeinu. They're just saying, like, you know, even if they're going to die, they don't care. That's not the so. Also, in yesterday's parsha, we had the mitzvah of ona'at dvarim, hurting people verbally, right? But it's ona'at dvarim is also it's hurting them by being somewhat deceptive. The idea is that you're not allowed to be deceptive in any way, or mislead people. And the Rebbe's also speak about don't fool yourself either. Don't Just this morning, somebody told me that this big Talmud Chochem came to see the Kosker Rebbe, and he's waiting. The Kosker is not going to get in yet. In the meantime, comes a simple farmer, and he wants to see the Rebbe, and the Rebbe takes him in and talks with him about his cow that was sick and so on. Anyway, so the Gabbai, I don't know if this story is accurate completely, but in any case, the gist is true. The Gabbai says to the Kosker Rebbe, I don't understand. Here's this farmer, you're giving him all this respect, and you're talking with him, and Talmud Chochem, this big Rosh Hashiva, you're making him wait. So he says, I prefer a Jew who talks about cows and thinks about cows than a Jew who talks holy and isn't about cows. You know, so we can fool ourselves all the time. You know, but then there's a problem. Is like, you know, sometimes you get a voice inside yourself that says, there's a voice that says, hey, Shalom, you're just a faker. Yeah, you got a beard, and you go to shul, and you shuckle a little bit, and this and that, and so on. But I know you, and you've got all these different thoughts in your mind, and so on. So why don't you just chuck the whole thing, and that'll be more honest. It's a strong argument. Huh? It's a strong argument, wouldn't you say? And how would you deal with it?
Not a strong argument, because it's based on the premise that a person has to be perfect in order to be good. I don't accept that premise.
No, but on the argument that, you know, people think that you're a holy man, and you know that you're not.
I don't expect you to be perfect.
I'm not asking what you ask. I'm not talking about
you're
perfect.
Striving to be good. That's good.
Okay, good. So you're on a medrega. What can I tell you? Baruch Hashem. The thing is like this: is that, you know, like once heard that somebody he told me, why is the Yetzer Hara called Yetzer Hara? He's saying, hey, you know, I see you're a little bit down. Come, I'll take you to. Why is he called Yetzer Hara? Say, like, you know, come, we'll have a good time. Right?
He's doing you a favor. Is he helping you?
So
it's pulling you down to bed.
It depends what kind of a party, right?
Well, of course, the best. Anyway, so well, what happens if I listen to that? 5 minutes later, he comes again with another idea. So I say to him, but I already had a good time. I don't need, you know, what else do you want? So he can't stand that I'm happy. So he takes away the feeling of happiness, you know, takes away the good feeling, so that I should be a customer again for the next thing that he suggests. But basically, Yetzer Hara is Yetzer Hara because he's not my friend. He's not interested in my good. He's not interested in my welfare.
And a Chaver Tov is interested in your welfare.
In your welfare.
Whereas a Chaver Ra is not interested.
Not interested in you.
I see.
Yeah.
That's the difference between good and bad.
Yeah, that's one of the, so, but the other thing is like this, is that the fact that see, the Nefesh HaBahamit, the animal soul itself, in its origin, is coming from a very, very high place. Once it gets corrupted down here, then it starts behaving inappropriately. So the thing is, so let's say I hear that message. Oh, like you're not, you're nowhere near what you pretend to be, and so on. And go shave your beard off, and take your yarmulke off, and so on and so on. It'll be more honest. Will it really be more honest? Will it be honest with my deepest, truest essence? No, it won't. It's just that right now I'm stuck in hearing that message, and I haven't made the effort, or let's put it this way, I need to make a much larger effort to actually hear my neshama crying, my neshama calling out.
How do you do that?
Well, but that's what we've been learning. Remember, all these times, like who is the I, who is the I inside the I. To focus on getting in touch with your neshama, right? Yeah, one of the stories that Reb Shlomo told very often was about Moshe the water carrier. That I think it was the Sefirat was a nephew, was a son-in-law or related to the Kosker. And he comes to live in this town, and being that he was a student by the Kosker, he's looking for emes. He's looking for people who are real emes, real truth. And he's looking around, and among all the important people in the shul, he's not happy with. He's not finding anybody that's mamish. But keep in mind that in Kosk, emes was like serious stuff. Okay, and finally, he sees one day, he's standing behind the oven, he sees the simple Yid, Moshe the water carrier. And this man is davening like unbelievable. This guy's for real. So he tries to befriend him, but this poor Yidel, you can't imagine why such an important rabbi would want to be his friend, so he just always keeps away from him. One day, the Sefirat was taking a walk in the evening. I'm sure you've heard the story. And he sees, he comes to this poor part of town where the water carriers were living. And he sees that Moshe has got a bunch of friends around him. They're standing on the front balcony, and they're saying l'chaim. Anyway, he goes over, he says, Moshe, what's going on? Can I come in? He says, yeah, my biggest honor. And his friend says, yeah, what's this party about? So he tells them, this is what it's about. I'm celebrating that I listened to my neshama. And what happened is, he says, Rebbe, for years and years I'm a water carrier. And every night I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing I do is I go and I fill 2 buckets of water and I bring it to the Beis Medrash, so that the people coming who are sleeping in shul, or the people who are coming into shul in the morning, to have water to wash themselves. And every night, after I bring the water there, I go over to the Aron Kodesh. I open it up. I say, Rebbeinu Shalom, my wife, my children, we're all starving. Can't you do me a favor one time? Give me 1,000 rubles so that I can get myself on my feet and make a decent living for my family. You know the story, you did, yeah? So, you don't mind hearing it again, do you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So he says, the other day, I finished my prayer there, and I was walking out. It's still dark outside, and my foot hit something, and I picked it up, and it was a pouch with 1,000 rubles. And I said, Rebbeinu Shalom, unbelievable! I was already about to give up believing that you're ever going to help me. Wow, you listened to my prayers and you gave me the money. And he says, Rebbe, you know how heavy those buckets are? They're very heavy, but this day I was dancing with them. Anyway, Mincha Marav time, I come back to shul and I see there's a whole big commotion. Chanale, who recently was widowed from Avremel the water carrier, is crying bitter tears because all the water carriers had put together 1,000 rubles for her and the orphans, and she lost it. And as soon as I heard that, I knew that the money that I found was her money. I got so upset. I said, Rebbeinu Shalom, this is the cruelest thing you've ever done. I'm begging you for years for the money. You're giving me Chanukah's. You took it away from Chanukah, you're giving it to me. And I ran home, just lay down on my bed, covered my pillows, and I said, that's it, I'm finished. I'm not continuing with I'm not davening anymore, I'm not doing anything like that. Eventually, I cried myself to sleep, and in my sleep, I hear crying. And I'm looking, where's that crying coming from? Finally, I found it. It was my neshama crying. My neshama was saying, Moshe, all your life you prayed to Hashem. Now you need Him more than ever. How could you turn away? So I said, well, what should I do? And my neshama said, get up right now and go and return the money. And I did it. I listened. And let me tell you, when I brought the money to Chanukah, her gratitude, the look on her face, nothing could replace that. There was nothing like that. So every year, the Sachet Sheva would make a Suda on the outside of Moshe the water carrier, and he would tell this story. And he would end up saying, he says, I don't know if you had the merit to meet someone who actually heard his neshama. I did. It was Moshe the water carrier. You got to actually hear his. So the thing is like this. Yes, on a certain level of living, it sounds like, what am I doing? Like, I'm davening Shemini Esrei and I'm shaking, and in the meantime, I've got all these thoughts in my mind, that don't belong there right now, for sure not, right? So, but like Shaya was saying, is what is it that you really want? Be in touch with what you want. Yeah, I'm not perfect. I don't achieve this. I haven't achieved. There's a lot left to achieve. Okay. So then there's the worldly voice that says, well, listen, the most that you can do is you can learn to practice itzkafia, which means self-control. But it's hapcha, transformation. So a Jew has to believe and that it's actually possible to achieve that. And the way to achieve that, can you get the dog, please? And the way to achieve that is to go back as close as you can to your origin, to your point of origin, to your source, where you were lifnei Hashem. Shalom, shalom, bo. יש לך מקום פה על ידי. To go back to the place where you were mamish before, it was mamish lifnei Hashem, to go back to that place where Hashem is making Himself accessible to you, even in your behemoth consciousness. And what does this behemoth consciousness mean? It means that take an animal, we mentioned this last week, you were here, right? Take an ox and put him in the barn. The ox is going to behave like an ox in the barn. Take the ox and put him into the king's palace. He's going to behave like an ox in the king's palace, right in front of the king too, right? In other words, that's the idea the idea of, David HaMelech says, "V'ani ba v'lo eda behemot hayiti imach." Even when I'm just a behemoth, in other words, even when I don't really have any high consciousness of who you are, Ribono Shel Olam, I'm just a behemoth. I just know that you're the one who gives me food, right? I'm still imach. I'm still with you, and so to go to that place of that behemah rabbah with the lifting of the Omer, and then working on each of the midot throughout the counting of the Omer, that's the avodah of Svartim Lachem. not only to subjugate the midot, but it begins with subjugating them or controlling them, but it begins with that, but to get to the place where there's an actual transformation, that your chesed is like mamish beautiful chesed all the time, and that even your nefesh habahamit just wants to do chesed. It wants to do it. It's not. I don't have to control myself and say no. I'm not going to keep this dollar for myself. I'm going to give it away. But rather, you want to do it. You mamish want to help another person. So whether you're going to get to that madriga, whether we're going to get to that madriga or not, it's not really the issue. The majority, vast majority of us never get to that madriga, but at the very least, we have to believe that it's possible. And if you can do it even for one moment, it's also a wonderful thing.
And transformation occurs when behavior is automatic by habit.
So not so well. Habit is a very important thing, but it's a bit more than that. It's like the other week, a couple of weeks ago, I was at the Mayanot Girls School. So we were learning again about Ahavat Yisrael, right? And again from a Mishnah from yesterday. Kol ahava shetluya b'davar b'teila hadavar b'teila ahava. Right? Any love that is dependent on something, once the reason is gone, the love is gone. But love that's not dependent on anything, it always stays, right? And this goes back to the question of, like, can you really do that? So in Perik Lamed Bet Leiv, where the Alter Rebbe speaks about Ahavat Yisrael, and he speaks about how can we all love each other, especially some people are easier to love than other people, right? Some people really get on your nerves even before they try. So the Alter Rebbe says that you got to think about, stop seeing yourself just on this level, because on this level you are you and I am I. But if you go up to our point, our origin, we're all coming from the same Hashem Echad, from V'halo Av Echad L'Chulam. We all have the same one Father, and we're really parts of the one. Okay, we're both parts of the same one, so we're really one. And that's a question of, again, learning, how do I see myself? Do I see myself as primarily a physical yesh that also has a neshama, or am I primarily a neshama? Do I see you primarily as my competitor, or do I see you primarily as a neshama in a body, and that's neshama to neshama, we're part of the same one, right?
My father shared the story before Shabbat. In the States, the one guy he was like on the side of the road with hood open, and he had a kippah on his head, and like Israeli guys he stopped to help him, like with his car, and in the end he told him like in Hebrew like Shabbat Shalom, and he's like, what? And he's like in English like Yishav, like, what? Wait a minute, what is this kippah on your head? So he told him, my grandmother, she pulled out a kippah before she died. She told me, every time you're in trouble, put this on your head.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Tzemach Tzedek in Derech Mitzvotecha, in his teaching on Ahavat Yisrael, so he gives this example. You're cutting some bread, right? And you weren't careful. You're holding the bread in one hand with the knife in the other hand. By mistake, you cut yourself. So what would you say if I would take the knife and I'd say, here, transfer the knife to the other hand, and the other hand, and I say to the other hand, I go take revenge, right? You'd say I'm crazy. Why? Because even though it's this hand, it's two different hands, it's part of the same one body, right? So one of the girls said to me, well, wait a minute, that's not altruism, that's also for your own benefit, right? So I think that the point that the Tzemach Tzedek is making is as follows. The point of the parable that he's using is that you don't even have to think about not doing that, right? You don't. It's not like like you have this thought that I should now transfer the knife to the other hand so that the other hand should take revenge on the hand that cut it. But you know what? It doesn't make sense. We're all part of the same body. Something's wrong if you have to do that kind of calculation in your mind, right? Something's wrong. If you're normal, you don't even have to. There's no thinking. There's no question. So that's understand. So that's what the Tzemach Tzedek is saying, is that the Ahavat Yisrael is, so long as I'm making a cheshbon, you have a neshama and I have a neshama, you have a neshama, and and we're all part of the same one, so that we haven't reached that level yet of that complete achdut. So good. It's kafia. I'm controlling myself. I'm controlling my thoughts. I'm controlling myself in the way I interact with you, right? But the level to really get to is there's not even a question. Who was it? Maybe was it the Baal Shem Tov or one of the other early rabbis? I don't think it was the Baal Shem Tov, but I don't remember who it was. But he was like really upset because he managed to poured his heart out. By the way, we're dedicating the learning to the refuah of Sima Bas Rivka. Okay, Bat Rivka. So he would pour his heart out for somebody else's benefit, right? But then one day he heard that one of his own grandchildren was sick, and mamish davened and everything, but it was really bothering him afterwards that his davening for his own grandchild was much more intense. That he was not he bothered him that he still had distinctions between one and another. So good, it's normal. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying that there is such a madrega. There is such a madrega that every neshama is of equal importance to you. Okay. So Shlomo HaMelech. So go to page Yud Zayin, please. Okay. I'm going to take this up a He's going to begin with me.
The print here is too small.
It's the same on all of them. The print is the same on all of them. Okay. So we learned that Shlomo HaMelech made these water basins called Yam Shel Shlomo, and the basins were resting on these animal figures. Okay, and we're starting out with the third line on the top of the page. Actually, we're going to go to the bottom of the first column in the commentary. And this chariot is that bottom of the right column on Daf Yud Zayin. Okay. So he says that this chariot that whose shoresh, the animals in the chariot that Yecheskel saw, who shoresh v'mekor l'chol ha'behemot v'nefesh ha'bahamit shelomata shenimshavchim yimena. So what Yecheskel says, what he says is that all the energies, all the animal energies and the animal souls that are here below are drawn from what he was shown in the chariot. So Yadua, it's known. It's based on a teaching from the Gemara still. That all the different kinds of life forms and energies that we see. You guys see where I am at the bottom of the right column? Yeah. All these different forms of energy that we see in this world, mishtalshelim me'olamot elyonim. They all evolve from supernal worlds. Derak geshem v'chomer hanivra hu chidush gamur is only the actual material, mundane that has been created, that is the complete chidush. Shemitziuto matchelet kan ba'olam hazeh. That the existence of it starts here in this world. This is the chiddush of this world. But in origin, everything is originating from a supernal realm and goes through a process of tzimtzumim, contractions, and very powerful contractions. And then the chiddush of this world is that it all manifests, all these different forms of life and energies manifest themselves into a physical state in this world. Okay? אבל החיות הרוחנית והנפש המלבשת בכל נברא, the spiritual life energy and the soul that is vested in everything that is created, כבר נמצאת בעולמות הרוחניים, is already present and existing in the spiritual worlds, ומשם יורדת לעולם הזה, and is from there down to this world. Right? So everything, the glass on the table, everything that's manifest in this world is simply a physical manifestation of something that exists in the higher realms. Okay? שבין מיני הנפשות והכוחות והשונים, and the differences between the various life forms and the various energies בתכונותיהם וענייניהם, in their various characteristics, הם בהתאם להבדלם בשורשם ומקורם. That's the difference is where they're originating from. In other words, plants are different from rocks and minerals because they're originating from a different point above. Okay? So, vikach binyanenu, and so too in what we're talking about here, we're in the second column. No, what's happening there? Yeah, she is. Who is it? Hi. Judy's going away now for a meeting.
I'm just making sure that at 3 o'clock we're still.
Who, you and I?
Yeah.
I hope so. Okay. You have my number?
No.
Can you do me a favor? 058 770 3345.
Thank you.
Okay, call me, okay? So, v'chein binyanenu, so too in our issues, what we're talking about, the shogesh nefashot kol habehemot sheba'olam, the root of all animals in the world, of the root of their life energy, v'chein hanefesh habahamit sheba'adam, and so too the animal soul in man. The root is hu mimalachim elyonim. We're talking about not your spiritual, not your nefesh elokit, we're talking about your animal soul, right? So hu mimalachim elyonim shebamerkava ha'elyona is originating from these supernal angels in the chariot, shenikraim behemot, and they're called behemot. Right?
Are these the behemoth?
Yeah. The behemah rabba is like the biggest one, right? So the kemo sha'behemah nimshechet b'tiva lidvarim shonim, just like an animal, by its very nature, is drawn to certain things. Kol behemah lefi tiva shenitba ba me'et HaKadosh Baruch Hu, each animal is drawn to the things that are natural for it according to the nature that God imprinted into it. So v'kach hanefesh habahamit sheba'adam, and so too the animal soul of man, shenikret nefesh hativit, which is known also as the natural soul. Lefi shenyana, so why is it called a behemoth? because לפי שעניינה הנטיות הטבעיות של גוף גשמי להנאות עולם הזה. Because the nature of the body is that it wants to have, the nature of the animal soul is that it wants to enjoy the pleasures of this world. So, כמו כן, so likewise, in other words, just like my body behaves this way naturally, in other words, I naturally want to have pleasures of this world, right? כמו כן המלאכים אינם בעלי בחירה. So too, angels were in the second column at the top, in the second paragraph. So too, angels are not בעלי בחירה. Angels don't really have any free choice. ויראתם ואהבתם היא טבעית להם, and their fear and their love of God is natural love and fear of God. והמידות באהבה ויראה ורחמנות במרכבה הן בבחינת טבעיות. So when Yecheskel is saying that he saw these animals in their chariot, what he was seeing was, he was seeing these energies of these angels, that they are that way naturally, not by choice.
Animals are that way too.
And that's how animals behave, like,
Instinct.
Natural instinct, right? So, that's how they were created. This is what they naturally want. Okay? So too, I have my nefesh habahamit. It naturally wants comfort. It naturally wants to survive. It naturally wants self-gratification, and so on. Right? Because it originates from those animals that Yecheskel saw in the Merkabah. Over there, he saw it in a spiritual form, right? But he calls it behemoth because the term behemah is not meant to say that there's a lion running around upstairs and that there's an ox running around upstairs or anything like that. The term behemah means to say that there are these different angels, that their behavior is like that of, like a behemoth. That's the way they are. Okay? Give a cat a chance to kill a dove, it'll do it. It's not by choice. That's the way it behaves, right?
And a human being has the choice.
A human being, well, if it hasn't been corrupted, right? But for example, there are times that once, like, whether I finished davening or whether I didn't finish davening, once you smell the children, davening is over. Right? I told you I used to daven in the shtibel in Montreal, and the December Rebbe, he wasn't alive anymore, but the Rebbe she was a very clever woman, and this was literally a shtibel. It was a basement in a duplex. And they had it cut out in the ceiling, because the women would sit upstairs, right over the Sefirat Ha'omer. They can see the Sefirat Ha'omer while it was being read. It was one of those old style places, and just about everybody in that room had a number on their arm. They were all survivors, and every so often there would be a big fight in shul. Why somebody was hoping to get a certain aliyah and the Gabbai gave it to somebody else. It's fireworks, okay? So what did she do? She made the best children in town. She'd run into the kitchen. She'd lift the lid on the pot, and so that the smell of the children should come down, in the middle of Kriyat Torah, and you could literally see as the fragrance was coming down. The argument was over. Everybody sat down. Everybody was quiet, right? Because she had the holiest children in town. She was reminding everybody, children is coming.
Chill out. Yeah. Good.
Okay. So right. That's the behemoth. It wants, right. So there's your nefesh habahamit wants gratification, right? What needs to be done, and that's what Alter Rebbe explains in another mimer also, and it's probably going to be mentioned a bit further on. Why do you, before Shema in the Shachris, right, you have a whole broche about Yotzei Or, Borei Choshech, V'ha'ofanim, V'chayot HaKodesh, all these angels. You're talking about all these angels. Why are we talking about angels? What's it got to do with Shema? Right? This is called Birchot Kriyat Shema, right? And then the next bracha is about Ahavat Olam, right? So what does that have to do with the saying of Shema? What that has to do with Shema is like this: is that you're getting ready. We're getting ready to say Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. So you want your animal soul, your animal self, to participate in saying Shema and saying I love your God. But how do you do that? You have to remind it that in its origin, it was one of those angels that Yecheskel saw that was constantly yearning to be in union with God. That's why we're looking for gratification, because we're coming from those angels that we're always looking for the gratification of being in union with Hashem. But coming down to earth and the Nefesh Abamit manifests itself in the physical body, so it needs to be reminded. This is my origin. This is what I really want.
Well,
Okay, but it's avodah. You can read this 100 times. You mamish got to sit and meditate on it, and meditate on it, and meditate on it again and again, and be prepared to accept that you'll never get to the level of tzaddik. Maybe your whole life, maybe my whole avodah is going to be not to give in to something negative, which is also okay, because maybe that's why my neshama came to this world. Understand? I didn't necessarily come here to be a tzaddik, right? Maybe I'm just one of those soldiers that is constantly tempted, and the job is to overcome the temptation. It's possible. And so the Alter Rebbe in the chapters on Simcha, so he says that don't let this get you down, because every time that you feel like insulting somebody and you control yourself in Shemaim, that brings Hashem tremendous joy. Maybe more than when you do another mitzvah. It depends. You don't necessarily know exactly why. What is it that my neshama came here to specifically for? So we got to keep on trying to do those things that we hope. We hope we're doing what we need to be doing, and to keep on trying. But just to put it more practical over here is when you're desiring something, if we could take a minute and to think about, is it really the ice cream that I want, or is it the sweetness that I want? Is it the sweetness of the sugar that I want, or do I want the sweetness of Gan Eden? It says that sweet is the taste of Gan Eden. So Reb Shlomo's twin brother once told us, Rabbi Chaim told us, that Reb Shlomo used to eat, as a kid, he used to eat his ice cream with a toothpick. Because he learned that sweet is the taste of Gan Eden, so he wanted it to last as long as possible.
It probably melted before.
It's still sweet, but the sweetness didn't melt. That's sweet, right? Okay? The sweetness, it was, you understand? So is it the ice cream that I want? Or is it I'm craving for sweetness? Am I craving for the physical sweetness, or am I craving for the higher sweetness that's available in life, right? And you might end up losing weight that way, Okay, but somebody said something not nice to me, and I feel like I'm getting angry. So what is it that's really bugging me, right? That he put me down, made my ego crunched a little bit. You know what? It's not such a bad thing to, maybe I needed that. It's like, like there's certain kinds of massage where they put their thumb in your back and it comes out through your belly button, right? And so good. So, but it happened. It's hashgacha pratit. It happened. You understand? What can I? Maybe I need. I don't know what the answer is for you or for him or for them. But maybe what I just needed to do is maybe I just needed like a quick kung fu lesson in being sensitive to the pain that I cause another person. You're feeling alone. Is there somebody I've been ignoring? Have I been? Maybe I'm making Hashem feel alone. Maybe Hashem keeps on knocking on my door and saying, let me in, and then, come back later, type of thing. There's, in other words, whatever it is that's happening at the moment, right? Realize that there's something else there. There's something else, and there's a and that every little thing is an opportunity for getting back closer in touch with the Rabbeinu Shalom and so on. Okay, so Mr. Shem, we continue tomorrow, yeah?
Sure.
Thank you.